Hello, this is Warpath 1985 speaking today's July 4th special. I should be discussing the G.I. Joe Patriot, the G.I. Joe's missile truck slash armored vehicle, and one of his designated drivers, Colonel Courage. And this vehicle is definitely interesting. Also, side note, sorry you might hear the fan in the background. Once again, it is quite hot where I'm at right now. Besides that, Colonel Courage and the Patriot are interesting since they didn't reappear in any sort of media, AE comic, or any of the cartoon series. The best way to pretty much answer that particular question is like the reason like why weren't they in there, or why weren't they even mentioned in the series, is mostly because, well, their series is very bloated. Mind you, there is a high possibility that Colonel Courage might be in the new IDW series, because there's a strange new G.I. Joe character in the background that kind of looks very similar to Colonel Courage, but doesn't have the facial hair, and majority of his military getup more still wears like his suit in black, mind you. I don't know if it's the same character or not, because I'm aware that sometimes the IW or majority of the ARH series will introduce certain characters and never actually get any toys for like a while. Good example is Shooter. She didn't even get a toy in the original toy line, but did get one in the 50th anniversary toy line, and very recently got her deal in the classified toy line, where she also got a new figure. Both of them technically being Night Force figures, which makes sense because she's technically like a very stealthy sniper, or technically spotter, whatever. In Colonel Courage's case, hopefully he does get a classified figure, because I feel like it could be a pretty good one, especially because Colonel Courage is by far my personal favorite 1993 figure, because majority of 1993 figures range from being really good to being very weird. The Colonel Courage is my personal really good figure, because I feel like he's good, like a really good like representation of majority of the older G.I. Joe figures, but in more updated style at that time. Obviously, he has some neon colors from the 90s, or more let's see, early 90s, and has some of the weird like qualms with it, either be his accessories or in general him being very not as particularly detailed as earlier figures. However, he does very much fit well with older figures, especially since older figures did have some weird quirks here and there. Good example, Airtide, Blowtorch, Charboil, etc. do kind of like stand out a lot, especially Sci-Fi and Ice Cream Shoulder, even though Ice Cream Shoulder came out a year after Colonel Courage. But I kind of feel like if Ice Cream Shoulder was a lot closer to the color scheme of Charboil, then I would have more liked, which is why I think we should do a classic figure, because I think Ice Cream Shoulder does have like a lot of this to describe it, not necessarily hope, but more or less a lot of potential to be a really good figure. Colonel Courage, as I said before, also. Of course, Colonel Courage himself, because I'm talking about the driver first, talking about all this stuff later, is one of the designated drivers for the G.I. Joe Patriot. I do have the updated versions of those drivers in my collection, but not the original figures that this figure was supposed to, almost not figure, but vehicle was recommended to have. And that will be Beachhead and Shockwave, particularly the DF Shockwave, and particularly the Beachhead that was released during 1993 and 1994. Even though by the time 1994, the Patriot was even on shelves. You could still find it in 1993 on shelves if you're lucky, even though it's discontinued by them. By then, 1994, zero chance. Even though you might say, oh, nowadays I can find, like, I don't know, the Rainmakers 3-pack anywhere in here around my comic book store, etc. But that's mostly just because that thing was released twice, and then Patriot's case was released once in 1992, which I'll be mentioning a little bit later when it comes to Patriot. Now these two figures on the side of both are based off their version 1 figures, even though technically Beachhead is wearing his head, because I was testing out options for the photo shoot for the thumbnail, but I was like, I much prefer him with the mask look. In Colonel Courage's case, he does actually come with Shockwave's pistol, which I mentioned that in Shockwave's versus Destro review, if I do come around making that video. Besides that, yeah, these figures kind of like strangely fit well, even though all of them are very, very conflicting, have very, very conflicting colors. Another figure I do have out here is Red Star, Colonel Red Star, another G.I. Joe Colonel, even though he's a Colonel of the October card. And we try and bring him in here is mostly just because, as a fun little tee-hee reference to how the Ukrainians in the current Ukraine war absolutely adore the Patriot's namesake, the Patriot Missile System, which obviously I was like, oh, it'd be pretty cool to have Red Star in the photo shoot and thumbnail as a fun reference to that. So if you're curious about that, there's the answer why it's there. But yeah, other than he's just a Colonel. So I have this guy here, Iceberg, on there, and so I tried to give a Colonel Courage bracelet to Iceberg because I have Colonel Courage on my display inside the Patriot. But yeah, the reason I do have Iceberg here in the first place is actually for this, because if you do not know, majority of the weapons and accessories that are included with 1990, well, kind of is 1992 through 1994 figures, because certain 1992 figures, actually no, that's actually incorrect, most 1993, 1994 figures had weapons trees, which had random assortment of weapons that were releases from previous figures, as mentioned. Okay, this figure comes with Shockwave's pistol. Because of this, the weapons are a lot more malleable and a lot less high quality. For example, here's Iceberg's machine gun, which is completely unique to the figure and wasn't actually not re-released in any of the color. My camera's going to try to focus on it because it's very, very bright white, compared to the released version of Muscraft's machine gun. Now both of these are based on actual machine guns. Muscraft's is based off of the M60, not M60, but M40, M30. I think there's the M34 or the M36. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put the actual name here. And this is a modified version of the M60 that was produced as a weird experimental version of the M60, which was a lot more lightweight. I originally assumed this was the same exact machine gun that was included with the Big Ben, but it was actually slightly modified. Actually, it is a different gun, and is actually M60, which is interesting to say the least. However, both of them are very similar if you do compare it to Big Ben's machine gun. Nonetheless, both of them are obviously very, very different. The weapons are included in the weapons trees a lot lower quality, and also a lot less glossy. As you can tell, it's a lot more duller color and doesn't have much very shine to it, while Iceberg's is a lot more glossy, and you can tell it is just gleaming right now, and has a much more high quality plastic, while this one does not. It's very, very strange, and it does cause them, the weapons handles or pistol grips, to start not necessarily thinning, but more or less start wearing down and start to like fray a little bit. It's very, very weird. You can mostly see it if I can zoom in a little bit more on this history up here. You can see it's ever so slightly fraying a little bit. So yeah, that is something you do have to be a little bit wary of, but since all these weapons are the same, it doesn't particularly matter. Also, let me display some of these weapons with the figure once inside the vehicle. And continuing on, talking about the weapons, this is technically a HK51. I do mean technically, because although it definitely looks like a HK51, which is basically HK50 if we're in the shape of a MP5. It was more or less just a compact version of a HK50. However, it has elements of M16 and the parts of like a MG32. I think this is called now MG32, MG34. Still can't remember how to pronounce it. So it's like one of those. But basically it has the barrel of that. Or almost a wee large barrel shroud. It's very confusing. But also, it definitely looks somewhat realistic because it looks like HK51. But also it's somewhat unrealistic because it's in bright neon green. Or almost a lime green, technically. It also comes with lime green version of Muskrat's machete. He also comes with Shockwave's Desert Eagle, also in a lime green. He also came with, which I don't have currently, because when I bought the speaker, it didn't come with those accessories. Similar to Half the Battle, where I didn't get all the accessories, but here's a picture of them here. Blaster, I think it's blasters. Laser rifle, or his rocket launcher. It's something. And he runs little knife in lime green instead of olive green as it was beforehand. Also, I forgot to mention this actually came with Airborne version 2, or technically Airborne 1.2.0, however. It's very confusing because that Airborne is technically a entirely different character, similar to how Mainframe and Dial Tone will occasionally be a different character, and usually those characters are female. For example, Rise of Cobra and Resolute both had like a version of Mainframe or Dial Tone who are female, similar to their counterparts. And I believe the IAW or not, I think it's Devil's Due series. Yeah, Devil's Due. Besides that, it also comes with a reuse Barricade's golden rocket launcher with minigun. But however, it does not include the little rack that was included with that figure, which I'll show an image of that here, of a couple of images of Barricade himself. Maybe I'll show also the different images of those figures previously mentioned. I'm not really sure. Most likely I will. Same with the rocket launcher rocket itself. Even though it's not technically a rocket missile launcher, it's actually more or less a explosive. Because again, Barricade's a bunker buster similar to Long Arm. Even though technically Long Arm is a EOD specialist. It's the reason why he became bunker buster in the first place. Whatever. Colonel Courage himself, however, is entirely brand new mold. He shares nothing with any previous figures, which is pretty impressive since a majority of the 90s, early 90s G.I. Joe figures usually were reusing parts from previous figures. In Colonel Courage's case, is entirely brand new, which is pretty cool. He does have a couple awesome details, like similar to version 1 Hawk, where he had a little various details that identified him as being a colonel. Same with Colonel Courage. He actually had a little colonel emblem on his helmet right here, which is super cool. I wish they did on Hawk on the original figures when he got his first figure, and also technically they did with his second figure, the 20th anniversary toy line. However, that was a General Hawk instead of a Colonel Hawk, which is kind of confusing, but whatever. The figure has a bunch of little details. Obviously, he's wearing a nice little, kind of like a G-Man type of suit, which is pretty cool, with some web gear, a pistol, a knife, grenade, a clip-on tie, I believe, some more web gear, a belt, and a holster that's attached to the belt, and a couple clips here and there. Has some nice boots, a very nice Colonel helmet, or a helmet that has a Colonel emblem on it, and a beard. Even though you can tell by the file right here, and as you see right here it says Patriot, it's stated that he's very much part of like a trying to maintain formality within G.I. Joe unit, even though it has a beard and that's not particularly formal. And also you might also say the web gear and etc. is not also formal, even though that technically is formal, but more or less in the context is that if you're like, I don't know, on duty or whatever. It's confusing, whatever. But ultimately, it kind of contradicts his character a little bit, especially when you look at the figures around him, like Ice Cream Soldier, etc. The articulation for the figure also is very much the same compared to other G.I. Joe figures after 1985. Let's try and focus on this figure. He has a ball joint at the head. He has hinged shoulders, which are tight on my figure due to, I believe, rust, or most oxidation. Has hinged elbows. Has a O-ring waist. He can kick that far. Cannot go so far backwards. Almost can't kick that. Can't kick back that far. That is certainly a tongue twister. And has a over 90-degree bend at the knee. Obviously, he also comes with a little figure stand, which were very common by the time when the majority of 9 figures came out. And we just mentioned is that you also have him stand on the foot pegs or on the foot peg that's on the figure stand, because he has little foot pegs, little sauce for the foot pegs. Sorry, I'm still kind of trying to get over the can't kick that far back, the tongue twister thing. However, the figure is also very unique for actually color matching the Patriot itself, which is kind of funny in my personal opinion. The figure does color match the Patriot. Obviously, he has black holster that matches the black treads and the black cockpit. He has tan and t-shirt, not t-shirt, more or less a vest technically, that matches tan on the majority, the main body, and the gun of the vehicle or missile launcher. And the neon, which is lime green, matches the neon that's lime green of the front bumper, the machine gun, the rear anti-aircraft gun, the missiles, and obviously the good old glory flag antenna, which is pretty cool. However, it does mean that other colors, like his olive drab green and his brown on his boots, don't really perfectly match the Patriot, even though you might technically argue that he does have that. The vehicle does have that via the stickers, but they're kind of stretching at that point. But yeah, I do find that pretty cool that he does color match the vehicle, unlike previous drivers, which didn't technically do that often, because usually to contrast the vehicle, the driver would be like, for example, I forget his name, Heavy Metal, which I do have his red color figure here, contrast to the Mauler, where he was an olive drab green and wore black bomber jacket and a couple other stuff, while the Mauler was in a tan. However, in this case, the driver for the Patriot, or one of the designated drivers, the Patriot, matches the Patriot, which is super cool. However, as you can tell beforehand, Shockwave and Beachhead most certainly did not color match the Patriot, which, especially when you look at their 90s figures, especially images of those here, again, if I had them beforehand, I'd probably do it again, most certainly did not match it either. Even though the 90s version of Beachhead, or Beach's version 2 and 3, had some neon colors that almost matched the Patriot, but not really that much. The Patriot is one of the various vehicles that do have the gimmick of suspension. However, the Patriot is flawed, very flawed in fact. The Patriot suffers from a design flaw where, unlike previous vehicles that had suspension, the Persuader, which I previously reviewed on the channel, and the All-Striker, which I had in the previous channel, but probably will in the near future. All these vehicles have suspension. Of course, other vehicles do, but these are the two that I have on hand. And the reason is why I mentioned this is that, for example, you see a piece of terrain which we presented by this book, and majority of vehicles can obviously use your suspension to obviously move up there and obviously do the suspension thing. Same with this vehicle here. And once again, same with the Patriot. Since Patriot has like curved treads, it can obviously move up there. However, this is where the problem lies. Take this here, phone book here. So, obviously terrain can vary. This is where the problem lies. So once again, take the persuader, right? And as you can see, the persuader can easily move up. Same with the all-striker. And however, persuader can't. And as you saw earlier, a little bit earlier, it will kind of like flip over, like so. That's what it's supposed to do. However, you see right here, it will get caught. This is a design fault with the Patriot only, because previous vehicles with suspension will have their own individual bar, which will obviously cause them move independently from the rest of the wheels, or more or less would be able to move in a much more efficient manner compared to the Patriot. Because all of the Patriot's gimmick is very impressive, because you see it's very similar to the Cobra Ice Cutter, which also technically has its own worker suspension. But unlike the Cobra Ice Cutter, where it is a lot smoother and always had the hindsight of the Patriot, this figure does not have the hindsight and thusly has a problem. Same one goes for the all-striker here, individual bars, etc. However, the Patriot relies on the clip system. And as you can tell, one of my clips was broken. I got this figure, the reason why I even got this little vehicle for cheap, was complete, whatever, was because this vehicle had obviously a broken tab here and a broken clip. Because this is very common. A lot of Patriots, I do mean a lot of Patriots, have broken tabs, which really sucks. It sucks because that means your Patriot can't really move around. I was able to fix this by modifying, cutting down a bunch of the first Lego pieces and trying to fit the hole to make a obviously staying there. It does, but it's still very little loose compared to the rest of the treads. But the problem is that it can happen to any of the Patriot. It's mostly caused by obviously by kids back during the 90s, obviously thinking that their vehicle can also push through such a minor like obstacle, and then forcing it through causes it to snap off, which sucks. And I'm not really sure why the Hasbro didn't continue on reusing the general T-bar type of system, whatever, with the Persuader and the All-Striker, other than out of them mostly trying to save money, which probably is the most obvious option, especially when you realize the use figure, the driver for this thing relied on accessories that were reused from previous figures. which sucks a lot. Besides that, the vehicle, the else gimmick is flawed, yes, but obviously I can't commend it for being somewhat ambitious. That's the best way to put it. For trying to replicate normal tank treads that are usually motorized, but now trying to replicate it through plastic in general, using gravity to its own advantage, which obviously, as I said before, didn't really pan out that well. But the other gimmicks that this vehicle does have is this little bumper here, which moves up and down. Over time, this does droop down a lot. My copy especially. Yeah, the vehicle does have an opening cockpit, which has very decent detail and greebling. Has a rotating machine gun or blaster. Has the antenna here with good old glory, which is fantastic. Has an anti-aircraft gun and a storage unit, or more as an area where to store all the missiles. The Patriot is definitely a lot stranger since it relies on a lot more of a archaic way of launching its missiles. You have the gun here, which can technically ratchet. I mean technically, because you see right here has these little teeth that, and then we can zoom in and focus on there. There you go. Has these little teeth that run against this little panel here, and obviously locks it into position. It can occasionally pop off because those teeth are very obviously archaic in nature, but also very, and best way to describe it, too big, and because it obviously pops off very easily. I'm gonna just move that camera a little further upwards, because the interesting part about the Patriot is that, unlike other spring-loading missiles, etc., that are around at the same time, it allows a lot more of a flick-fire missile type of deal. So you first grab your missile and you just dump it in there, and you move the vehicle backwards, or go to the back basically, and you see the missile poking out. This is, of course, obviously a little tail, etc. And as you've most likely heard, there's a little spring in there. This is how it fires its missile. You simply pull it back and just try to move my camera upwards. It fires, which it's a very unique way of firing a missile, and this is particularly like master missiles included with courage, where it fires like that via a switch. Well, this one mostly relies on manual type of fire, which is very unique, because I believe this is the only G.I. Joe vehicle that does that. Because other vehicles obviously have a flick fire type of gimmick where you flick it and it fires away. This is the only G.I. Joe vehicle that I can find, or more or less am aware of, that relies on you pulling the string back and firing it like a rubber band basically, which makes this vehicle very, very unique, and I find that to be pretty cool. Sticker detail also, if I mentioned this earlier, sticker detail of the vehicle is very, very unique in the sense that it's very, very, very greebly, whatever. It has a small emblem here that says Patriot G.I. Joe. Has a bunch of various computer details and etc. on the side, unit numbers, etc. Has the Patriot little Patriot name here. If I can just zoom, try and focus on in there. I think my phone camera's like going a little crazy because it's like a neon. There it is. Patriot Let's see. ASF-1 protection systems. So yeah, it is technically based on the Patriot Missile System, which is pretty funny. We're same sticker. Side the other side of the missile has the same stickers. However, other side of the vehicle has entirely different set of stickers. It's G.I. Joe. You see the number of the vehicle, 26. More unit numbers, etc. Oh wait, there's a caution. It says caution, arm moves down. Very tiny letters. Another Patriot emblem on the side. It says right there, it says G.I. Joe. Have Old Glory up there. And finally, I believe there's circuit deal there. There's not. I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all the circuit details of the vehicle. Let's move it backward, back here. Just fix my camera. Back. And set the figures up. Now, do I recommend this vehicle? I really do, but also be very wary of the Patriot's obvious design flaw. And also recommend this driver, Colonel Courage, or any designated drivers. I particularly recommend having Colonel Courage be the driver because he obviously works well with the vehicle, not only color matching it, but also makes sense. He's not the only vehicle driver or more operator of the missile system. Similar to the first Colonel and first G.I. Joe leader of the RH series or tone line, Hawk came with the SMS, which was a missile system or anti-aircraft missile system, which is pretty cool. I do recommend this vehicle, not this vehicle, but more as a figure also. However, the figure does have the problem where I forgot to mention this earlier. A lot of G.I. Joe figures are released during the 90s have very low paint quality because obviously them trying to save money and also trying to add as much details as possible was all saving a lot of budget. Even though they were saving a lot of budget by the card backs being very cheap, the advertisers being cheap, and also even the weapons being cheap because all of them were reused. And Colonel Courage is no exception to that. And yeah, that's all for this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully you have a fantastic July 4th, and I'll see you next time.